Hello, lovers. So today we are starting a spanking new series under the playlist business, and this is me sharing my experience of the last 13 years venturing into business, how I started, how it's still going, what you can learn, what I can learn from you, and if you're about to start, how I started that can inspire you to actually start on this journey, right? And it doesn't matter whether you have a 9 to 5 or you're just starting all on your own. This series is gonna blow your mind. Are you even ready? Hey, thank you for tuning in again. Now, as at 2007, I decided to leave home permanently. I wanted to leave home and find myself. I was 27 at the time. It was just 3 months after my 27th birthday. I was done with university graduation. I had done an odd job in between waiting for my certificate to be out. I have also go for the mandatory um, National Youth Service Corps that is kind of mandatory for graduates in my country, in Nigeria, and I was done with all of that. And this was 6 months after my coming back home from Sokoto State in Nigeria, back to Abia State where my parents used to live, where we practically grew up. And then I had an opportunity to go to Lagos for a friend's wedding, and I decided not to come back. Now, I had come to a point where I told myself, it's time to live your life, it's time to pick up your life, it's time to go find what you wanted. And what did I want? I have always wanted to be in the media. I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be somewhere where I could write, speak, or act. Those are skills I know I've always had, and it comes to me naturally, right? And I decided that I was going to go to a city where I can get such kind of opportunity. Where I was living in Abia State in Nigeria at the time, we didn't have movie producers or actors living there. The opportunities weren't really there, so I wasn't going to be able to make a career out of acting living in Aba. Okay, so I said, okay, what even if I want to work in a radio station or a TV station? Yes, every state has a TV station or radio station, mostly owned by the state. Now the individual players who are private sector people, we receive their airline, their stations from where we live, but they don't have branches of their organization right there. And I didn't want to work with government by going to work in a state-owned radio station or TV station. And I knew somehow I also wanted to leave home. I needed to find myself. I was 27, always been home. Yes, I went to university away from my house, but I was always coming back home. I also went to secondary school, the later part of my secondary school, from home, and I went to another state, but I always came back home. So this was the point I was like, I needed to find something to do. So I left for Lagos in Nigeria, and if you know Lagos, Lagos is the biggest commercial city in my country, Nigeria, and I thought this is an opportunity to go out there, like they always used to talk about. Before then, I've always visited Lagos, but at that time, I had gone for a wedding. So all I did was I activated my contacts in Lagos. I had a big cousin who was living in Lagos. Of course, I had so many other relatives, but I got the particular of my cousin to tell him that we were in Lagos and I needed to come see him. So he accommodated me for 2 whole weeks. I was going for different job interviews, but the jobs weren't desirable, were not the kind of things I wanted. And at every point, I had to pay to buy a file and all that. Mind you, all of these times, I never thought business. Now, you don't blame me. I had never had exposure to business before, starting a business. I've never been with anyone who I saw their journey of starting a business. Apart from the fact that my mom used to have a small kiosk in front of my house before I was 9 years old, yeah, which of course did not last beyond my 9th birthday, I'm sure. I didn't have any idea of business in that sense growing up. I also hadn't, my mom also used to own a school when I was between 18 and 20, and I was part of it. I was teaching, it was a school, so I was teaching primary, secondary, filling up anywhere that there was a gap for an assistant teacher. And I loved doing it, right? But I wasn't immersed, so I didn't understand the business side of starting a school in that sense. So I have never really had that much exposure or interest or understood how I could own my own business out of nothing, right? So at this point, from Lagos, after seeking for a job for 2 whole weeks, and I decided I got another contact that needed me to come to Abuja. Abuja was a city I had also visited as a child because my father was working as a contractor there when we were younger, but I have never really been there. Okay, so I decided that I was going to go to Abuja to take up this opportunity. Now, what was the opportunity? A pastor friend of mine who I used to know back in the university, I communicated to him at the time I was in Lagos, and he was like, he just started a media company. So I was so excited, and he was living in Abuja. What did I do? I had to, I and my sister, we had to think, who do we know in Abuja? Where can we stay, at least for the interim? And we had to leave for Abuja 2 weeks after having gotten a relative who asked us to come stay in his house. Okay, so I got into Abuja excited, very optimistic about the opportunities. I mean, these are the two big cities, okay? Abuja is the capital of Nigeria and is where, everybody wants to be, kind of. But of course, it has its own challenges when it comes to housing. Housing is very expensive. But I was excited that I had this opportunity to stay. But anyway, while I was there, I had resumed and I was interviewed and I was given this job on merit. Now, they just gave me a few things to do. They were a magazine publishing company. They also used to do a TV production independently and other things that were also, there was also a reality show that was in the works at the time. So I took over handling the proposal, the pitching to brands and all that. It was such an exciting time for me. And while doing this, a few things happened on this journey. First of all, this media company that I began to work at, which was my very first real job experience after my NYSC, okay, and in another city where I practically knew, very few people, so I told myself that I was going to learn all that there is. Okay, the first challenge and the first exciting thing for me was that my boss, who employed me, I found out, even though he's somebody I used to know back in the university, I found out that first of all, this office that we started working in didn't have a resident office in that sense. We didn't have like a building that was housing the activities of this business. This business was registered, good to go, but registered with the company, with the address of another company, which was a business that my boss was affiliated to. So he used to share the office with the real owner of the office, and that was how he started. He didn't wait for him to make a lot of money before he started and employed us. We had four of us, 3 guys and I myself, so we are 4 staff, and my boss would always take us in his car. We'll go out to pitch. We went to hotels to hang out, have a strategy meeting in hotels, in parks, in different places. If you know Abuja very well, there are a lot of nice places you can actually hang out, without having to practically pay for anything. And right now, we even have a whole lot of, what they call them now, office spaces where you can rent a space, what they call them, like co-working spaces, yeah. So, but at that time, these things weren't existing. So if this was even existing at that time, I'm sure my boss would have taken the offer. But anyway, we used to visit this our registered office space once in a while just to see the man there, for granting us the privilege, just walk a little bit from there and leave. But we were always on the move. Now, that taught me a basic business lesson that I have never come to understand before then. I mean, you can start a business bootstrapping it until you can make the money to do the things that matter. And sometimes logistics, what is major is the fact that you have this business idea, you have it legally registered, and you have the services that you want to provide, and you're going all out to get the people who need the services. That's what is important. I'm bringing in the cash flow. That was where I first learned this. The next shocker, they will shock you. Okay, I finally found out working with my boss that my boss wasn't a university graduate in that sense, right? And this was me, how many years after university, like 3 years after post-graduation, I was looking for a job everywhere. I was employed by a man who had great vision, who had such a passionate heart for what he was doing, who had the kind of faith to even employ people even when he didn't have much. Now, I learned that again, that yes, going to school is good, but you don't have to wait to go to school before you can start a business. Now, this is my journey. Yours might be different, okay? Tell me in the comment section whether you have seen anything like this, whether you started like this. But now, I haven't told you how I started business, right? So, in this company, I was supposed to edit all documents, all public-facing documents. anything that has to go out, whether they are proposals, profiles, website, whatever. I was supposed to write them, edit them, or if somebody else has written them, I'm supposed to edit them, including website content, magazine content. And I was so excited because, first of all, this was the first time I was being paid salary for editing scripts. I have always been a voracious reader from the age of 7, right? And I have gone through secondary school, university, editing for people. People will bring their tests and say, oh, Jenny, help me look at this. I don't want to make any grammatical error, and I will make the corrections for them on their paper. People were always excited to get me to read their script before time, because it's something I found I had an innate ability to do. Also, being a voracious reader, I was able to spot a lot of documents that had that needed my professional touch. But did I know I could make it a business? I didn't know at this time, but this was the first time I was feeling good that I was at least paid a salary to edit. Now, editing now became something I needed to monetize, and I'll tell you in the next series, in the next video, how I was able to start my very first business and what drove me to start it in a new city where I knew little or nobody, and how it has become even today down the line in 2021. This was 2007. I will give you the next gist in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Do you have any ideas for me? Do you have any congratulations for me? Just drop it in the comment section. And if you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button, put on notification and put it on all. That way you will not miss any of the series, any part of this series. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you soon.